Let's draw some really interesting mountains using a sharp edge shading technique that is really, really cool. I'm going to start with a near mountain right here in the front. Just draw one mountain, just a little peak right there, one mountain. Then we're going to use overlapping. We'll just draw a couple, but the important part of this lesson is the shading. Of course, the near mountain's in front, so I'll draw another mountain back here, and I'll just make this mountain a little bit smaller to make the illusion, look at they get smaller as they move away. Things that are larger look closer to you. See, I'll put, but wait, I'm going to break the rule. Look at this. I'll make this mountain even bigger, but it's farther away. And so I broke the rule. This one still looks closer, so sometimes one of the Renaissance words, or those 12 Renaissance words, has more power. This one is overlapping, has more power over than size. Usually near things are larger, except if something's overlapping. How's that? Now you're learning little variations to the rule. All right, so there's just a little group of mountains right here, okay? Very simple. I'm going to zoom in just a bit on that. Go ahead and pull, there you go. Now there's different ways we can shade. We can blend shade this, we can scribble shade this, or we can use a sharp edge. And I'll do a video lesson for each of those different techniques. This will be the mountains with the sharp edge shading, okay? That's what we'll call this, the mountains with the sharp edge shading. I'm going to put a sharp edge, and I got this by studying the animators from the movies like, Pocahontas had mountains shaded like this. The Prince of Egypt, the animated movie, had mountains shaded like The Little Mermaid had mountains and cliffs underwater, and they were shaded like this, like in the cave where Ariel hid her treasure. Remember that movie Spirit with the horse that was jumping over the cliffs, right? They had in the background, you see these wonderful mountains. Pay close attention to the wonderful background drawings. Oh, you got to pull out the old Tarzan. Pull out the animated Tarzan movie, one of the Disney classics, Tarzan, where he's surfing the tree vines down. Pull that out, dust it off, take a look at the backgrounds and the vines and how the vines were shaded like this with an edge to it. So from the very top, I'm going to put a shadow line. That's what I'm going to shade up to. Okay, this is the first kind of mountain I learned how to draw from my teacher when I was your age. You're wondering how I know your age when you're watching the computer lesson. I don't really know how old you are. But I learned how to draw this when I was in elementary school. Okay, let's shade down here. Let's going to make this, I'm going to shade the side right now. I'm going to turn my drawing and I'm going to blend it all the way up to that side. So watch this. I'll turn my drawing. I'm going to shade. The sun's going to be coming from over here. So I'll start and I'll shade it. And then we're going to use our Stompy to kind of blend it, kind of smooth it out. Look at this. I'm going to shade all the way up to that edge. Okay, now it's easier for me to shade this way, so I'm going to turn my drawing. And you can do the same thing. Add this tone all the way to that line. Same value. Look at that. Same value. I'm not going to blend it from dark to light. I'm going to use that sharp edge. Isn't that neat? This is like a pile of ice cream kind of, doesn't it? So I'm going to turn my drawing and I'm going to shade from here all the way to that edge. Look at right to that edge. I'm keeping the same value, the same tone, the same grade. Does that make sense there? It's going to be the same value. I'm not going to blend it from dark to light. Now I will on another mountain. You'll see mountains with blended shading. This is mountains with sharp edge shading here. All right, so let's go ahead and curve this. Look at this, all the way up to that edge in the same value. Isn't that fun? This is a neat technique. Okay, so we've done 3 mountains. I'm going to shade this other one. Remember, the light's coming from, where's the light coming from? It's going to be coming from up here. So I'm going to turn my drawing sideways and I'll blend it all the way up to that edge. Doesn't that look neat? All the way up to that edge. And then what I want to do is I want to keep all my pencil strokes going the same direction. Makes your drawing look a little neater. So I'll go back over here and try to make all my pencil strokes. If you're going to see my pencil strokes, I want them all to be uniform, but just more pleasing to the eye. It's a little less messy, Keep them kind of coming in the same direction here. All these pencil strokes come in the same direction. It kind of neatens up your drawing, you see. Then darken it in between the mountains. Look at, there's a little bit of shadow in between those. Okay. Look at that, and you can clean this up with your Stompy if you want to make it smooth. I'm not going to change the value of the drawing. I'm not going to go from dark to light. I'm going to keep it all the same tone. But if you want to just kind of smooth it out, you can. You could take a stomp and just smooth the value out. See, this kind of smooth it all out a little bit here, just just up to your sharp edge, or take your finger. But remember, we're not blending from dark to light. We're just smoothing out the value. It's all the same tone. Just kind of smoothing it out. Excellent job. Look at that. Well, there's a really simple lesson on drawing mountains with this sharp edge shading. That's how a lot of animators draw it. Now, I'll do another lesson coming up that is mountains with blended shading. Practice this one for the whole day. Do 100 mountains. Do 200 mountains like this, overlapping, and then I'll show you. Here's one example. Look at this. Mountains with that kind of shading. Also craters. Go ahead and blend, zoom in, would you? Look at this drawing right here. Isn't that neat? Look at that. These are a little volcano in the background. This was by one of my students, Jacob. Isn't that neat? He was 13 years old. But using the sharp edge down here, and look at what's interesting is he shaded the light coming from the left and shaded the right side. I like to see you students doing on your own style, your own technique, okay, your own flavors right here. Right here, go and pull out. I always keep my son on the right, and I like seeing you do things differently than me. Well, there you go. Excellent job, and I'll see you on the next lesson. Yeah.